Welcome to the My Creative Days podcast, where we will talk about all things DIY, home decor, decorating tips, and creating a beautiful home on a budget. I am hoping our time together will spark a creative idea, help you plan your next DIY, or inspire you to finally tackle that project you keep putting off. Grab your favorite cup of motivation and let's chat. Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today I am recording a question that came in. These are my favorite podcasts to record, so please keep your questions or topics coming in. Email me, Lindsay at mycreativedays.com. Reach out to me on Instagram at mycreativedays. These are so helpful and they're my favorite to record. So today I'm broke this down into kind of 5 tips just to make it a quick and easy podcast, but these things will definitely help you if you're running into this. So the question was, how do you handle mistakes or unexpected challenges during a furniture flip? And what's your advice for staying motivated through these? We've all been there, and especially when you're first starting out, these things are going to happen. There are some things that will definitely help you and just keep you motivated to get through them. It's the worst when you're halfway through a project and something doesn't go as planned. It can be frustrating, but today I'm just going to share how to handle these situations and my advice for staying motivated through them. So number 1, which is you need to have a plan B, C, D, E, and F. And even if you don't have those plans, just know that your plan A probably is not going to go exactly how you think it's going to be. So you definitely have to be flexible and you have to have some other plans set up or just be flexible, because any DIY project, no matter what you're doing, if it's a furniture flip or you're flipping a house, we've done both, it's never going to go as planned. So you just have to be flexible. You have to pivot and you just have to, go in a different direction or just change some things. But being flexible is your new favorite hobby. It's your new favorite way that you're going to be in this furniture flipping DIY world. You definitely need to be flexible because you will change it. So I'm just going to kind of go through some of the common things that'll happen or come up and then kind of just some ways to go through it. So number 1, the most common, especially for newbies that are just starting out, is choosing the wrong paint or stain color, depending on, what your makeover is. This happens, and especially in the beginning, when you're just starting out, you think, oh, I'm going to paint this in this color, and then you get it on that piece, and that piece just does not look good in that color. You will get to a point, if you continue doing this, you will get to a point when you can look at a piece, like now I can look at a piece and know, okay, this needs to be a dark, moody color, or this piece needs to be a lighter, maybe it's a white or a creamy white. You will definitely just be able to look at a piece and say, this is definitely what this needs. But in the beginning, you're not going to find the perfect color, or you may run into it where you're like, I just don't like this color. The great thing about paint and stain is, number 1, don't panic, right? Take a step back and you can always repaint and restain. Now, restaining might be a little bit harder, but when I was first starting out and I would paint a piece and I'm like, I just don't like it. It's too light. So then I just started experimenting. And so I'm like, it just needs to be a little bit darker. So I started staining over paint. I started using antiquing waxes. I started doing, mixing maybe like a watered down, paint. I would water it down so it would kind of go on like a stain, but it would darken the color. So this is how, and this is going to lead to another like tip that I have in here, but this is how you learn things. And this is how you're going to problem solve. You may find a new technique or something that you're like, I've seen nobody do this before. This is going to be my thing. Right. So you just don't panic. You just have to step back and always remember, it's paint, it's stain. You can paint over stain. You can paint over paint. Like, it can be fixed. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to trash it and put it on the side of the road or whatever. But just, think, besides like, I have to do it all over. I have to start all over. Just think, wait a minute, if I added this color or I added a wax or I did this, would that help? If I just need to repaint it a whole nother color, I just need to repaint it a whole nother color. Like, it's not the end of the world. But just remember that sometimes layering or mixing paints or like, putting stain over a paint color can lead to better results than what you initially thought. And that's something that goes with my first little thing when I said your plan, A, is not always going to work out. 98% of the time, something's going to be a little different. But I'm going to tell you, 98.5% of the time, like almost 100% of the time, the other plan or what I had to do and pivot and do something different looks better and it turns out better anyway. It's like the project was meant to be that plan C, D, E, or F, right? Like as you're going through it and you think, okay, this is what I'm doing. And as you're going along, okay, this is not happening. This is not looking good. And then as you're changing things and you're going to your next plan, it's like, oh, this project just showed me exactly what it needed to be, right? Like it was meant to be this way. So the next one is when you're dealing with an unexpected damage. And this will happen a lot. So this is why I tell you to, whenever you are out hunting for pieces, you definitely need to just make sure you give it a good look over. You really want to make sure, the drawers or the doors or the legs or, depending on what kind of furniture piece you're looking at, you need to make sure that you give them a good look. And this is if you're, going to somebody's house on Facebook Marketplace, you just want to make sure you're not picking up something that you can't fix, especially at your skill level right now. So you just want to make sure that the piece is, if you've been doing this for a while and you can fix, a wobbly cabinet door or whatever it is, great. But if it's, a chair leg, I always say chair legs are the worst. Even, Matt and I now, after doing this for 20 years, if the legs are bad, if we can't just put, especially chair legs, I guess I should say, we're not into fixing those. If they are not solid or something's wrong with them, it's just, we definitely won't pick it up. So you just have to make sure when you're picking up pieces before you bring them home that you expect, you inspect it for anything, for damage or just things that you can fix. But sometimes things slip by you and, you'll get home and you'll say, I didn't see this. And, but this is the point where you can get creative. So, happy accidents happen. They lead to some of the most unique pieces. So in the past, we have done things where we thought we could fix, let's just say a drawer to a piece of furniture or something. And we get home and it's further gone than we thought it was. And so, maybe it's a tall chest of drawers. We remove all of the drawers and then we turn it into a bookshelf instead. So you'll come away with some really unique pieces that you weren't planning at all. Like you saw a dresser with 5 drawers, and so you thought it would be a dresser with 5 drawers, but you're going to come away with a really cool bookshelf. Maybe you add some molding around the top and the bottom or whatever. Maybe it's just you have a dresser or a piece that's got damaged corners or something. You missed a corner that maybe a dog had chewed on or something. After some sanding and stuff, it's still not going to look right. So you can, add decorative corner brackets. So not only will it fix and kind of cover that, but you've added a beautiful detail that wouldn't have been on there, necessarily if it was perfect. So it's your chance to get creative and maybe come away with unique pieces. Again, it's not the end of the world. The only time I say it's the end of the world would be, like I said, chairs. Chairs are tricky. And if you're not in the furniture business of redoing chairs or, that is when I would say, it might not be able to save it. But if you are on my website or have seen some of my projects, we have come across chairs that I actually loved some of the detail on them, but they were too far gone. So we actually cut them apart and they hang in our entry. So you'll have to check out mycreativedays.com. and just search chairs. Maybe if you search chairs, or chairs should come up. But anyway, I have a lot of projects and things on mycreativedays.com. But if you search that, you'll see how I was able to keep some of the detail and made something totally unexpected for the entry in our home. Next one is, this one's often overlooked. And I will get questions from people that are like, I just feel so bad that I set up a time to go to look at this piece on Facebook Marketplace and I don't want it when I get there. So know when to walk away. Well, and this is when you're in the middle of a flip too, but when I was talking about when you're there inspecting a piece, especially on Facebook, it made me think of this question that I've answered this before on, here on the podcast, but know when to walk away. So you do need to, when you're buying a piece, you know when to walk away. But if you're in the middle of a flip and you just feel like everything's going wrong, walk away. This is one of the things that for such a long time I didn't do, and I tried to push through, and I hated it. I hated the process. I hated the makeover. I just hated everything about it. And then you start maturing and start, knowing that I need to walk away because I am losing my mind. And you always come back with a better attitude, and you're just a more clear mind of, okay, this is all right. Like, I'm just going to do this. And so just walking away gives you a fresh mind. You're not in that frustrated state when you should not be making any decisions, doing any of the work. It's just, you'll get that renewed energy you need to get through the project. So walk away. And if it's, I'm not talking just 20 minutes. Sometimes it's 4 days. Like, just walk away from the project and then come back to it when you're fully ready. Okay. So let's talk about staying motivated. Sometimes when projects aren't going the way that you thought they would be, or it's hard to want to finish them, right? But you need to retrain how we think, retrain how we talk, because how we're thinking and how we're talking, they're powerful. It's powerful, right? So one thing that helps me stay motivated is focusing on the end goal, right? So focus on how this piece is going to look when you are totally done. Focus on if you are flipping it to make some money. Focus on the end goal of making that profit. And again, don't be afraid of taking a break. And it doesn't, you don't have to finish it in one day, and you shouldn't. So if you need to take a week away from that one dresser, do it. Just do it. Don't be afraid to take that break. It's just going to make you feel so much better about the entire process. If you're really stuck and you have like a community that you are, a part of, or you've got friends that know what you're doing. So maybe it's fellow flippers that are online, or people that you follow, or just friends or family members that share your passion. Just, having a place to go and talk to people that get it makes all the difference. They may say, look at it, send them a photo, and they may say, oh my gosh, yeah, all you would have to do is, A, B, C, and D. And you're thinking, why didn't I think of that? Well, the reason you didn't think of that simple solution is because you're so frustrated. You're in the midst of it. You are mad. You are, upset. You're crying. You're whatever. That's why. So getting a fresh perspective from somebody else can make all the difference. And the last one is, remember that perfection is overrated and it is not attainable. There's no such thing, right? So every piece you work on is going to be a reflection of your journey, right? Even the bumps along the way. So I always tell people, in the beginning, you're learning and you'll learn so much, but the more and more you do it, don't give up. It's just like anything that is worth having or worth doing. If you keep giving up, you're never going to learn. You're never going to get better. You're never going to, right? So you just have to keep going, embrace the imperfections, right? And learn from every mistake or every challenge, because the more and more you do that, the easier and easier every project's going to be. Okay, I hope this was helpful. So if you know somebody that's going through this that could find this podcast helpful, please share it with them. I always appreciate it so much when you share the podcast. We are doing this to help as many people as we can. So definitely share the podcast, and thank you to all of you who do. As always, if you have a topic, a question, something you want me to chat about here on the podcast, reach out to me through email, lindsay@mycreativedays.com, or on Instagram @mycreativedays. These are my favorite kinds of podcasts to record. So keep them coming in. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Hello, friends. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast.